Tonight, students say the first week back to school has been a little crowded.
My business class is so full, there's not enough desks, there's not enough chairs.
It's slightly worse than we even projected.
What is causing the crunch and what the school board say may fix things. Plus,
that will guarantee that these 651 affordable homes get built.
a small fix could be on the way to help ease the city's affordable housing crisis, even as thousands remain on the waiting list. And he may look like Santa, but he doesn't need any reindeer to pull his sleigh. This Guinness World Record holder can pull it all by himself. Good evening, I'm Mike Wise. It's been 1 week since students returned to the classroom, and many of them say they're dealing with surprisingly large classes. Well, that's a result of provincial funding cuts to education and school boards still waiting to make last-minute staffing adjustments. Our Ali Chasson spoke to several students today to hear about a tight situation in many schools.
There's 40 kids in my class and there's too many desks.
Which class of yours is really crowded?
All of them.
My business class is so full, there's not enough desks, there's not enough chairs.
We knew provincial cuts were going to result in higher class sizes. The class average was projected to increase from 22 to 28 over the next 4 years.
We are hearing isolated cases of some classes that are 40 or more students. Obviously, that's not normal.
So, is this happening because of the staffing cuts?
At this point, it's too early to say. We have to first look at all of our enrollment data. Once that's in, should be in the next week or two, then we can look at that and see how it compares to previous years.
The Ontario Secondary Teachers Union, in the meantime, is saying, told ya.
It's slightly worse than we even projected. I hope the school boards will join us in raising our voices against that. We certainly have already seen students and parents doing that.
Right now, principals are sending memos to parents, like this one from Northern Secondary School. At high schools that experience an enrollment greater than projection, there may be some reorganization of classes and/or they may be assigned additional teachers. And by the start of October, class sizes will normalize, meaning they will reflect expected class sizes.
So that can happen naturally as students drop or change courses at the beginning of the year. But if it comes down to it, school boards can deploy more teachers. The Toronto District School Board has 80 teachers on standby in case they need to assign them to some of these crowded schools. Ali Chasson, CBC News, Toronto.
A 54-year-old woman died this morning after a cement truck hit her as she crossed the street just north of Yonge and Eglinton. It happened just after 10 o'clock. Police say the truck was turning off of Yonge Street to Erskine Avenue, and the woman was in the crosswalk at the time. Police say the truck struck, then dragged her for several meters. She is the 41st pedestrian to be killed on Toronto streets this year, and some residents in the area say they are concerned about an increase in construction and truck traffic.
Definitely getting busier in this neighborhood. I wish though that they would put a traffic light at the corner because I stay here and I see so many near miss.
The driver of the truck remained at the scene. Witnesses say he was so distraught he had to be taken to hospital. Police are still investigating what happened. They haven't laid any charges at this point. Oh, we could soon see a building boom of affordable housing in Toronto, a small one at least. Today, the mayor announced a series of proposals to build more than 600 affordable units as part of a city program that uses public land and tax incentives to create lower-priced homes. Angelina King has the details.
8 sites, 651 affordable homes, one goal: make housing more accessible in Toronto. 3 of the proposals come from nonprofits, the rest private developers. City staff want Toronto councillors to invest in them, both with millions in capital funding and financial incentives.
That will guarantee that these 651 affordable homes get built and that they stay as affordable homes for a minimum period of 30 years and in some cases in perpetuity.
Longtime affordable housing developer Mark Guslitz says this chips away at the problem, but it can't be solved without other levels of government.
You end up with Toronto essentially by itself trying to fund some affordable housing and doing the best they can. But, you know, the amount of money that they have available is just not enough. given the enormous cost of building.
The mayor agrees these projects won't solve the problem alone, but says it's a start.
They will successfully reduce financial pressures on some lower and middle income families and individuals and contribute to inclusive mixed income neighborhoods, which of course is another priority that we have set.
That priority a focus here tonight at a community meeting in Davisville Village discussing a proposed affordable housing project with a focus on seniors just a few blocks away on Merton Street. The proposed building is being built as part of a different housing initiative which uses city-owned land to develop mixed-income housing. But the goal for this project is to have all 180 units be affordable housing just for seniors. City Councillor Josh Matlow says there are about 20,000 seniors on the wait list for social housing in Toronto.
If you think of a 7 to 10 year waiting list to actually get social housing, for many seniors, their lives may not wait that long.
If approved, the Merton project could begin construction late next year. The first of the other proposed sites could start as early as next month. Angelina King, CBC News, Toronto.
Colette Kennedy's here with a first look at the forecast. We're looking at some wet weather overnight.
Yeah, we do have some wet conditions. We've got a few systems kind of working their way through. The first one really bumping up the temperatures, then the cool down comes, and then another one is going to bring us another chance for seeing some thunderstorm activity. So all kinds of things going on, and that's what you would expect, as we've been sort of talking about. The month of September can have a lot of extremes and a lot of variables to it. So we will be heating up into Wednesday, the humidity bumping up as well, and then we reverse that situation as the cold front goes through into Thursday and our winds change direction, and then the temperatures go below seasonal. And in between all of this, with all these systems kind of coming through and providing some lift, we will see some scattered showers and some isolated thunderstorms in there as well. So through the overnight hours, still a few of these spotty showers. They should dry up by the morning commute, but a little bit of mist or some patchy fog may well be left behind. Also left behind, of course, we're going to be into the warm sector of this system, so that's where we get into some of this humidity. You can see tomorrow afternoon some of the storms bubbling up into southwestern Ontario, where that heat warning continues, but it likely will be later in the day into the evening and overnight hours Wednesday into Thursday morning that we see more of that activity coming back into the GTA. 19 degrees your overnight low, and then tomorrow afternoon with that increase in cloudiness, just keep in mind it's going to be feeling like 35 degrees, Mike.
Okay, thanks, Colette.
You're welcome.
So watch closely as a truck somehow comes to rest on the roof of a house. This happened Monday on Highway 64, just south of Sudbury. The OPP says a Penske commercial truck driven by a 24-year-old man from Scarborough hit a culvert and flipped vertically, ripping down a hydro pole and several hydro lines before, as you can see there, ending up on top of a house. Incredibly, no one was injured. The homeowners were actually on the property at the time, but not inside. One OPP constable we spoke to says she has never seen anything like this before. Looks like the driver was shocked as well. He has since been charged with careless driving. Police say they expect that distracted driving played a role in the crash. Another big night for stargazing at TIFF. Another true story brought to the screen. The film Harriet is based on the extraordinary tale of Harriet Tubman. Tony Award-winning Broadway actor Cynthia Erivo stars as Tubman. It follows her story as she escaped from slavery and transformed into one of America's greatest heroes. Another big premiere tonight for Motherless Brooklyn. It's written, directed, produced, and starring Edward Norton. The film, set in the 1950s, is about a private detective living with Tourette's syndrome who tries to solve the murder of his mentor and best friend. And finally, there was the highly anticipated premiere of Judy, the biopic based on the later years of the legendary Judy Garland. It's starring Renee Zellweger. Arkelda Yoon was on the red carpet tonight.
The film takes place in 1968 during the twilight of Garland's career, and the film marks what many are already calling Renee Zellweger's triumphant return. Now, many are also familiar with Judy Garland's story. We know her as a child star who turned into a legendary movie actress as well as a singer, but her life was also marked by tragedy. And this film centers on her last run of concerts in London just months before she died. At the time, she was broke. She was struggling for custody of her children while also struggling with with addiction to alcohol and pills. The movie is directed by Rupert Gold. This is only his second feature film, but he does have an extensive background in theater. But of course, the heart and soul of the film is Renee. Earlier, I asked her, as well as director Rupert Gold, what it took to prepare for making this movie about such a legendary subject.
There was so much to discover and explore, but it felt more like, well, Rupert described it mining for treasure, you know? And it was just a series of sort of shared experiments where we were digging together and learning together, and we were motivated by mutual admiration and affection for Judy.
You want it to be a celebration of the life. You don't want it to be a terrible, miserable plod through addiction and defeat, because they're extraordinary things in her life, and it's an exemplary life. Equally, you want to do justice to the real fight she had and the practical things she was facing up to. Above all, you know, she's an icon, and so you want your lead performance to embody the spirit of it.
And of course, we've seen Zellweger sing and dance before, most notably in Chicago, which was filmed right here in Toronto. In Judy, she's already getting rave reviews. There's already some Oscar buzz surrounding her performance. The film actually premiered a few weeks ago at the Telluride Film Festival in Colorado. This is its second big screening right here at TIFF, and it will have its wide release on September 27th. Kelda Yoon, CBC News, Toronto.
20 years ago, 15-year-old Sharmini Anandaval disappeared on her way to a job that police believe did not exist. 4 months later, her remains were found in a North York ravine. Still ahead, the jailhouse interview with the man one detective believes killed her. York Regional Police are asking for your help at locating these three men. They believe the suspects intentionally set this car on fire in Markham on Friday. As you can see, one man almost set himself on fire. It happened around 5:30 in the morning near Leslie and John Streets. When police arrived, the vehicle was fully engulfed. They say the three men smashed the passenger side window and doused the inside with gasoline. Men wore dark clothing and may have injured themselves. Police are asking anyone with information to give them a call. Well, it's been 20 years since the remains of Sharmini Anandaval were found in a Toronto ravine. The 15-year-old left her home months earlier, telling her family that she was on the way to a new job. Now, the latest season of one of CBC's most popular podcasts is taking a closer look at this case, specifically why no one was charged in her killing. It includes an exclusive jailhouse interview with the man who was the prime suspect. Farah Morali has more.
Police have now moved to a level 3 search.
Please release my daughter, please, I beg you.
Inside the mall where she was last seen, a booth is manned by volunteers hoping someone saw something.
It was a disappearance that gripped the city of Toronto. Sharmini Anandaval left her family's apartment on a Saturday morning in June. She never came back. 4 months later, a heartbreaking conclusion.
On the weekend, police found skeletal remains in a North York park.
No one was ever charged for the murder of the 15-year-old. And 20 years later, her family doesn't have any more answers. A new CBC podcast, Uncover Sharmini, is taking a closer look at the decades-old case. Host Michelle Shepard returned to the ravine in Toronto's East Don Parklands, where Sharmini's remains were found, speaking with the former lead investigator.
But this does bring back memories.
And to the man who was at the center of a police investigation in 1999.
That's been a long time, like 20 years ago is a long time.
Stanley Tippett is in prison today for an unrelated conviction. In 2008, he abducted and sexually assaulted a 12-year-old Peterborough girl. Before that, he was convicted of criminal harassment on 2 occasions against 2 separate women. He denies he committed any of the crimes and says he did not kill Sharmini.
I think, when it comes to the investigation, I think a lot of time was wasted. I think they wasted a lot of energy focusing on the wrong people.
Tippett lived in an apartment on the floor below the Anandaval family in this building, and once told reporters he'd drive her and her brothers to swimming lessons. Sharmini's parents say it was Tippett who offered her a job, the one she was supposed to be going to, on the day she disappeared.
When you're saying about inconsistencies, that should be left with the authorities to investigate and to do their job.
He was definitely in the forefront of the investigators at the time.
The head of Toronto's cold case unit says there wasn't enough evidence to charge Tippett, and police only have one shot.
We have that law in Canada of double jeopardy, so we have to be sure in what we're doing and the chance that we get to charge someone and bring them before a court.
One of the former lead investigators on the case said the problem was there was no physical evidence connecting Tippett to Sharmini, but says he's absolutely certain of Tippett's guilt.
I always thought there was a prosecutable case.
And Stanley Tippett is still considered a suspect.
Well, his name certainly still is in the file, and if we had any further information that we could investigate on that, we would.
Tippett was declared a dangerous offender in 2011. That means he may never get out of prison. Farah Morali, CBC News, Toronto.
You can listen to the first 2 episodes of Uncover Sharmini. You can find it using your podcast player of choice or head to cbc.ca/Sharmini. We'll still ahead on our newscast.
I've pulled fire trucks, houses, planes, trains, automobiles. I've lifted many people on my back, and I just am up for any feat of strength.
Car broke down and you need a push? Well, you know who to call. Coburg's Ripped Reverend has broken more than 30 Guinness World Records, mostly for pulling heavy objects. What's behind his supernatural strength? We'll ask him coming up.
The weather update is brought to you by Train Extreme Conditions Testing. It's hard to stop a train, really hard. Train, the most reliable heating and cooling brand.
The Blue Jays looking to snap a 7-game losing streak tonight as they return to the Rogers Center. TJ Zeuch getting his first career start against the Red Sox. Doesn't go well, though. First pitch to Mookie Betts ends up just off the foul pole on the left. Jays do go on to get on the board in the third. Kevin Biggio ties things. This is his 13th home run of his career. Fifth inning, Jays behind when Rowdy Tellez drives the ball to left center. A 2-run blast puts Toronto up 4-3, and that is enough to snap their 7-game slide. Colette is back with her extended forecast. I'm trying to remember the last time we talked about a humidex or a humidex warning.
Yeah, and dealing with that is, we're not going to have many days left like this, Mike. Let's put it that way. We have it for tomorrow for southwestern Ontario. We're really looking at this because it's an excessive heat warning that's in place because of those, not just the temperatures up in the low 30s, around 31 degrees, and the overnight lows in the 20s, low 20s, but it's because the humidex values up there are around 40. So some extreme heat there, but we're still talking about mid-30s for that humidex for the GTA into tomorrow. Daytime highs unofficially through today. You can see where the warmth came in, the southwesterly flow of those winds as the warm sector, that warm front moved through. And so some of those spikes in temperatures like St. Catharines as well, even Hamilton getting warmer than really what we've been seeing towards the city because it was just taking a little bit longer to get there. A little bit of these spotty showers, a little rumble of thunder through the overnight, a bit of patchy fog into the morning hours, and then we get kind of a break. And because we'll be seeing that heat and humidity, it may actually feel pretty good. I think a lot of us, myself included, don't mind getting a little return of real summer-like weather coming through the day tomorrow. Clouds then building in towards the afternoon. Southwestern Ontario will see those showers and thunderstorms redeveloping, and we'll likely see that into the evening and overnight Wednesday into Thursday morning as well, pushing further east and having an impact on the GTA. So that takes you into Thursday. Then we should be seeing kind of a quieter day before the next system is on our doorstep, and that one moves in for Friday. So you'll see this, how it all plays out in the 5-day forecast. But overnight tonight, these don't even seem reminiscent of overnight lows, do they? So you will have some activity, but then overnight getting into a bit of a break there back towards the Windsor area. 21, 31 tomorrow with scattered showers and thunderstorms through the area. Some real heat there, though, when it feels like 41. Overnight tonight, these are way above seasonal. This time of year, about 11 is an average overnight low, and we're talking about lows closer to 20 degrees, and then the highs tomorrow closer to 30 degrees and feeling like we're in the mid-30s. But again, some isolated showers and thunderstorms showing up, especially later in the day for the GTA, earlier for southwestern Ontario. And then the cool down, once the cold front goes through into Thursday. Now, early morning hours, some of the overnight showers could be lingering, but then we should see things clearing out. 19 degrees, though, so much cooler. Friday, the next system coming through, but temperatures becoming more seasonal, and a peek at the weekend. And Mike, looking pretty good at this point.
It is pretty looking good once we get this seesaw on the weather and the rain out of the way this week. Thanks a lot, Colette.
You're welcome.
I want to tell you now about Reverend Kevin Fast. He's a man of God who can also pull a truck and even an airplane. In fact, the Coburg man has broken more than 30 Guinness World Records, including most people supported on his shoulders. You can find that one featured in the 2020 edition of the book. Best of all, Reverend Fast does it all for local charities.
You guys ready? You guys all ready? Ready? 3, 2, 1.
My name is Kevin Fast. I'm pastor at St. Paul's Lutheran Church in Coburg, and I am a strong man. I've pulled fire trucks, houses, planes, trains, automobiles, lifted many people on my back. I just am up for any feat of strength because I just love that particular discipline. The best world record that I've accomplished was pulling a plane. It weighed 416,000 pounds, and I had to pull it over 5 meters.
Go!
There's a real mental battle going on in your head, a lot of doubts. And it took about 45 seconds before it actually started moving, and I was giving it max effort. I have a special verse that I use as a motto. It's Joshua 1:9 that says, be strong and courageous, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. And I really take that to heart, and I use it, and it's helped me through a lot. And on the day, it helped me pull a plane. Probably the most important thing of my diet is a poutine. That's where I like to eat French fries covered in gravy, smothered in cheese. I don't have the best diet for this kind of thing, but I eat what I like, and it's worked for me. As for weight training and preparing for strength feats, I go to the gym about 5 times a week, lift heavy weights, and when I'm training for a specific world record, I'll take about 6 weeks of specialized training. If I'm gonna try to break a truck pull record, I'll pull my truck up hills. People are jogging by and I'm trying to jog up the hill with my truck. It's kind of a funny sight. I believe that my strength is a gift. I received it from God. The benefit of receiving this gift is in so doing, I get to help a lot of people out through children's charities, raising money and awareness for different things. I currently still do world records. Ultimately, if anyone has any connection with this one, I'd love to pull the space shuttle.
Get on the phone. Let's see if we can work it out. Well, he's got a YouTube channel featuring his feats of strength. It's amazing how easy he makes this look. Must be that poutine weight training regiment, rather. A reminder, we're going to have full coverage on all CBC platforms of tomorrow's federal election call. That's at 10 a.m. I'll see you back here tomorrow night at 11. Good night.